Hello everyone, peace be with you. Welcome to this Jacko Club's production. Today we are going to be jumping into the much beloved fantastical world of Tamriel. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for being here. Please consider liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell button for notifications if you do. You can find us on various social media platforms linked in the description below. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, speaking of furthering justice, we have more people to kill.
Who's that?
Ah. That was... Oh! Esbern! Oh dear! Okay, well he just stabbed her in the back, from the front, mind you. Breaking news, what is it, Gibbon? I'm already paused, so I may as well stay here. If you're saying it's breaking news, it's either gotta be something really big and important or really stupid. What? Timcast is being... Why? Why is Timcast being cancelled? Moving on, like a different stage of life. Is it the controversy over the Russian matter? Did that Briarheart just evaporate? So reference Briarhearts are basically people who have handed themselves over to the witches to have their hearts exchanged for a plant that makes them more powerful through witchcraft. So that's what that is. It also makes them permanently enthralled to them, I believe. They do it usually willingly, though I think it canonically can be done otherwise. What was I thinking? But, so his workers are lazy. He's blaming the workers. I suppose, like, it's a decent answer? But, like, for one, how much do his workers have to do? It's a live stream. You don't need to, like... yeah, I feel bad for his guest that's on there today. Talking to him about that. Like, hey, I can finally get him to go on Timcast. Make my break in the world, and then just like, oh, I am present at the end of the Roman Empire. Oops. Was not expecting the Goths to be at the gates. Yeah, that sucks. Like, that feels more like a temper tantrum to me than like an honest thing. Like, he's got so much going for him. He's got his whole extra news agency. He's got that restaurant he's starting up. All he has to do to keep Timcast going is, like, sit down at a table and talk. Whoever wants to go on. And people will do that for him. Like, they will send him emails. He doesn't even, like, really need to reach out to get guests. He's big enough now. And I'm guessing it might be want to avoid scandal, or it's just emotional instability.
Must have something to do with it.
Yes.
But,
These are
yeah.
symbols. Here, let's see. You had the symbol for king and warrior, and of course the symbol for dragonborn. That's the one that appears to have a sort of arrow shape pointing downward at the bottom.
Okay. It's an odd combination, if I'm going to be honest.
Yes, that's it. The symbol on the middle pillar.
Whatever you do,
Perhaps not. Plus, they are the most sacred things in their religion. Like, you have the noble class, the guide society, you have the warrior class. It's like pinnacle of their workmen in that culture, and the dragonborn, which is like the most revered part of their religion.
Wait,
That does make
Why are
sense.
you stopping?
we should be careful here. See these symbols on the floor?
Esbern's right. Look like pressure plates.
Well,
No
if
cross once it's safe.
no doubt the way to go, like last time, is just follow the dragonborn symbols.
Be careful.
It is certainly a little interesting that that's what they chose to go with. Not, you know, how would they know that all this time in the future I'd be here? Maybe a prophecy, but it could also just be because the Dragonborn is the most sacred. But yeah, it sounds like he is just dumb. I try to be charitable, especially to someone like Timcast, Timpool, who has done so much for the world, but I really don't know where else the blame could lie other than him for that. Maybe he's just fed up. I don't know. Maybe they've been really bad to him, but... Ooh, wow. Lots of good loot here. Yeah, that Dwarven armor is going to go hard. Like, compared to what I have right now, that's 39 versus 35. Okay, actually not that much better. It is nice, though, to find it in some place like this, because looting Dwarven ruins, though you never get in trouble for it in Skyrim, you can do it as much as you want. No one will ever bother you about it. It's technically illegal to do it if you're not the Empire. But this is nice to have.
What is it?
I need to just pawn off like a few things on you if I'm going to be able to hold on to it. Okay, more than a few things. I'm just going to put it back in the chest for now. We'll come back. Someone want to explain this. Why is he bald? Who is this man?
Here's the blood seal. Another lost category arts. No doubt triggered by, well, blood. Your blood, Dragonborn. Look here. You see how the ancient blades revered Reman Cyrodiil?
Plus it is a temple, so all this stuff about the Dragonborn does check out. There have been other Dragonborns.
This place appears to be a shrine. In the Kaviri invasion.
After you, Dragon. You should have honor to be the first.
There's no telling what we might find inside.
Elaborate on the story of this on our way out, because these guys are going to be like non-stop talking until then. I do just want to lastly call it like, what is the logic of... That's a thing that goes for things like Star Trek 2, where it happens all the time. Where people like cut their hand as a proof of something. Why do you not take a glove off? Like, your hand will heal, but you gotta sew that thing back up, the glove. Like a waste of time to not just take it off and put it back on again later. They always do it, they just cut straight through the glove. I mean, I get slicing your hand to show off your honor, but, your dedication, but the glove sacrifice really necessary? The blood not enough?
Original Akaviri bas-reliefs, almost entirely intact.
You know, I probably shouldn't be running through here. I mean, you know, anyone watching this might not have any idea what this stuff is, and it's really cool.
You can see how the Akaviri craftsmen were beginning to embrace the more flowing Nordic style.
We're here for Alduin's Wall, right, Esbern?
Come on,
Yes.
Delphine.
We'll have more time to look around later, I suppose. Let's see what's up ahead.
Stuff does matter. Especially after a lot of grueling fight, we can take a moment to just smell the roses a little bit. Admire the architecture. Ancient civilization.
Shaw's bones, here it is. Aldrin's Wall, so well preserved. Huh? I've never seen a finer example of early Second Era Kaviri sculpture and relief.
Esbern, we need information, not a lecture on arts.
Calm
Yes.
down, woman.
Let's see what we have.
Don't get there. He's an old man. Let him do his thing.
Look, here is Alduin. This panel goes back to the beginning of time, when Alduin and the dragon cult ruled over Skyrim. Here, the humans rebelled against their dragon overlords, the legendary Dragon War. Alduin's defeat is the centerpiece of the wall. You see, here is fallen from the sky. The Nord Toms, masters of the voice, are arrayed against him.
So does it show how they defeated him? Isn't that why we're here?
Patience, my dear. The Akaviri were not a straightforward people. Everything is couched in allegory, mythic symbolism. Yes, yes. This here, coming from the mouths of the Nord heroes, this is the Akaviri symbol for shout. But there's no way to know what shout is meant.
You mean they used a shout to defeat Alduin? You're sure?
Oh yes, presumably something rather specific to dragons, or even Alduin himself. Remember, this is where they recorded all the news of Alduin and her.
So we're looking for a shout then? Damn it. You ever heard of such a thing? A shout that can knock a dragon out of the sky?
No, I've not heard of such a thing, but the Greybeards might know.
Right. I was hoping to avoid having to involve them in this, but it seems we have no choice.
What do you have against the Greybeards?
If they had their way, you do nothing but sit up on their mountain with them and talk to the sky or whatever it is they do.
I don't think so.
Greybeards are so afraid of power that they won't use it. Think about it. Have they tried to stop the Civil War or done anything about Alduin? No.
Yes, the latter.
And they're afraid of you, of your power. Trust me, there is no need to be afraid. Think of Tiber Septim. Do you think he'd have founded the Empire if he'd listened to the Greybeards?
How do you know they counseled him the other way? You don't have to worry though, I'm not afraid of my own power.
The Greybeards can teach you a lot, but don't let them turn you away from your destiny. You're Dragonborn, and you're the only one who can stop Alduin. Don't forget it.
Better go see what he knows about this shout.
Good thing they've already let you into their little cult.
No need to
Not
be
like
so
it would help
rude.
Esbern or me if we came calling. We'll look around Skyhaven Temple and see what else the old blades might have left for us. It's a better hideout than I could have hoped for. Talos guard you.
Look here, in the third panel. The prophecy which brought the Akaviri to Tamriel in the first place, in search of the Dragonborn. Here are the Akaviri, the blades. You see their distinctive long swords. Now they need their ancient mission fulfilled, as the last Dragonborn contends with Alduin at the end of time. Are you paying attention, Elfin? You might learn something of our own history. I know the prophecy by heart. Once all blades knew it. When misrule takes its place at the 8 corners of the world. When the brass tower walks and time is reshaped. When the thrice blessed fail and the red tower trembles. When the Dragonborn ruler loses his throne and the white tower falls. When the snow tower lies sundered, kingless, bleeding, the World Eater wakes, and the wheel turns upon the last Dragonborn.
I see.
Well, I'm gonna look around some more. See what the old blades left for us.
So I did actually follow most of that. The brass tower is an interesting one. When the brass tower walks again, that has to be Numidium, which is a lot older of an event than some of the other things mentioned in there, such as the war between the elves and men, the Empire having fallen. Very interesting. Nonetheless accurate. And to clarify, the Akaviri came from a continent to the far east. Right, far east. And the continent we're on is in the center of the world. The Akaviri came in search of someone called the Dragonborn. They came in hot, basically conquering as they went until they encountered the current Riemann Emperor, I believe, which is a different dynasty than the most recent one, or the second most recent. And they dedicated their lives to serving him and were the protectors of the empire, specifically of the Emperor, until the last Dragonborn Emperor died. The end of the Oblivion Crisis, which happened before the Great War. Back to all that stuff in a second. Yeah, at the end of the last Great War. And since then, they continue to serve the Empire, hoping for a return of the Dragonborn Emperors eventually, or return of just Dragonborns in general. And then after the war, part of the treaty was that they were forced to be done away with by the Empire because they also function as like their special operations and secret service, and were very effective against the Thalmor. So they were forced to be done away with. Now we are here. We have blade armor accessible to us now, which is very tempting. Canonically, it doesn't make a lot of sense to just go parading around Skyrim blades armor. Like, a lot of people would challenge us for doing that, including the Thalmor. And they technically don't know for sure yet that we are the ones responsible for the whole embassy incident. Because we left no one alive. But we also, can't say for sure it won't cause us problems. We also can't really carry it right now, until we're already fairly over encumbered. But it is a lot better gear on the flip side. And it looks pretty epic, and the prophecy does show a person defeating Alduin is wearing this armor. It might go kind of hard to wear this and then return to Nord armor when we go about other quests. I don't know how we feel. Chat, opinions? Blade armor or Nord armor? I feel like if we had Nordic hero armor, it'd be a tougher choice, but I'm gonna go with blades for now. Weapon-wise, we did get Dragonbane, which is going to be fairly useful when it comes to fighting dragons in the future, though it's already like its base damage is worse than Orcish, which we've already gotten to. But it does do 20 points of extra damage to dragons and 10 points to others. That being said, it doesn't need to be recharged. The only way to do that is with captured souls, which is a little bit of a morally questionable endeavor. So I don't know how I feel about using it for any purpose other than slaying Alduin, basically. So let's keep it in reserve. We'll keep it on us, but we aren't going to use it anytime soon. I'm still encumbered. Damn. What do I need to drop off? Very well. We'll have to come back here when we want to sell stuff to you. But yeah, this is us now. Let's go outside and take a look. There we go. Some better light on the subject. There we are. Let's equip that. Full on blade. Look at that. Luscious hair flowing out the back. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a Dragonborn. Look at this view. I always thought this was one of the coolest locations of the game. Like, the history, the architecture is all very, very interesting. I do find it neat that they based the Far East in the game off of, well, the Far East in real life. China. It's an interesting creative decision. Indicates, I'm not going to assume laziness, I'm going to assume it indicates that they want it to be defer to relatability as opposed to originality, which is fine. That's a fine decision to make for a writer, as long as it's original enough, and Skyrim certainly is that, and the Elder Scrolls in general. What's down there? I don't know, but I just quick save for a reason. I want to discover what is down there. Oh! Dear. Oh. And he died face down. I'll have to discover another. Ooh. Are those Imperials escorting a noble? I can't tell. See if I can't hunt an elk from all the way up here. Yeah, the only reason I'm obfuscating, avoiding the conversation is because I don't particularly, like, I'm very stuffy right now, essentially. So, talking for like 5 minutes straight, not the most appealing thing in the world. But we'll do it in a second. I just want to try and figure out what that thing is, and if I hit it. What? What? It only shows the animation when you're successful. I clearly hit and killed the thing. I was hoping that... Oh, wait. Chance 2. Alright, well... Apparently it's invincible from up here. But we managed to hit it twice, and it is in fact a goat. I don't know if it's dead and just like floating rapidly down the river. Or no, it's running. It's running away. Come back here. If I can die of the physics of jumping off here, you can die of being hit by a bow from up here. No. That's too far. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get that goat. Bet. This isn't over, goat. I was counting on just hitting it and seeing by its hitbox what its name was. But I did so well, I managed to headshot it twice. Which is why I gave that animation. Or maybe I didn't headshot it. Maybe my bow just did so much damage. But come on, goat. I know you're here. Where did he go? I have been cheated. I've been thoroughly cheated by the game. I'm not gonna give up this easily. I don't think he went that way. That's Uthgerd. Anyone in chat see which way he went? We have to find this thing and put an end to it. There it is! We found it! Hold on. I know what to do. Come on. Alright, we're closer. We're closer. I'm inclined to keep eyes on it rather than try and take a pot shot. I'm not going to hit it just yet. Oh, come here. Where'd it go? There it is. You will not escape my wrath! No! I can hit him all the way from up there, but the second it becomes a moving target, I'm just done. Don't worry, we can melee him. That can be arranged. Where did he go? Mud crab's coming for me and I don't even care. I'm a man on a mission. I would use like electricity or a fire spell, but that does feel a little bit inhumane. Not that it's totally humane to perpetually terrify this poor animal. But it is only a video game, and alas, this is just for fun. And for the principle of the thing. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Alright, idea number 2. Is apparently, the closer I get, the worse my aim is. Alright, there we go. Oh! He had to make that sound when he died? Ah, it took all the joy just right out of my sails. Oh, that was so sad. I mean... Oh, we got encumbered too. That is the face of evil there. Mischief. He deserved it. Deserved it. I do not repent. It is all coming to him. What are we going to drop so that we can reuse that, perhaps? For these. Alright, there we go. See? We got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. It's oddly fitting to use that in reference to a goat, if you get my meaning. He may have had some relation with Osama bin Laden. Specific type of relation. That's what you get for trying to stop me, my crab. He is delicious. What is she shooting? What's trying to hurt me now? A slaughterfish? Did she hit it? The kind of aim Uthgars have today? Nailed him. Nernroot. I sure is a pro hunter. Yeah, let's hope I have better aim tomorrow when I come against the geese. Or at the very least, when I come up against the geese, I can have similar success in chasing them down on foot. Just imagine me running through my neighborhood with a shotgun. Chasing down them poor geese until I can finally just take something out. I mean, you do all that work to get set up. It is very unsatisfying to not walk away with something. Well, so we have two things we can talk about that kind of come up naturally in the game. One is vigilantism. I think I'm saying that right. Kind of the E to the ism is a weird transition. Vigilante to vigilantism. You say tism, T-ism. Many questions, much wow. We can discuss that, or we can discuss necromancy. Those have been like our two moral themes of the day to come across. Not really anything else pressing, or we can talk about something else. What are on people's minds as things? Ooh, toes. That they might want to talk about. All right. So this app has he has Fred. Is Fred reading to us? If you can't tell. Look forward to hearing how Fred pronounces vigilantism. I don't know why they felt the need to have a male and a female English accent or American accent, but not for anyone else. Maybe it's like Southern and Northern, but they didn't specify that. Oh well.
Vigilantism.
Vigilantism. Now we know. Every TV show I ever watched growing up as a kid was wrong. Objectively wrong. We now know. Alright, so I did that, no one voted. And I'm actually fine with this because it's a fairly short discussion topic, right? Like, it's pretty much a yes or no answer. Even though there's more complexity in the amount of intersecting principles than there is in, like, the ultimate calculation. Because it normally just comes down to, like, one absolute or another. Whether you absolutely are pro-law, or you think there is a time and a place for people to act outside of the bounds of the law in the pursuit of justice. But, I mean, there's obviously a lot to that. That's where the interesting part of the moral dilemma comes into play, right? The fact that, there is an argument on the matter of respect for the law, doing honor to those who uphold the law and not getting in their way, which leads right into another point of orderliness. You know, is it too destructive to a society to have people running around taking them justice into their own hands rather than going through the, at least in a democratic society, mutually agreed upon arbiters? Or even another society, you know, you could still the whole other level of discussion, it'd still be considered too disorderly to let an opposed authority deal with it. Whether, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be elected. Even if it's just who your king has decided is in governance. A mud crab fighting slaughterfish. That's interesting. I was gonna side with the mud crab, but then he decided that I was his enemy. And if you are not with me, you are my enemy. As a man once said before. Ow! He had his arms and legs cut off. And then he became a cool dude. I popped one slaughterfish there. Did I catch that one? Yes, I did. I don't know if they're alive or not. That's the thing, though. They certainly aren't anymore. My aim is now magically better, now that I'm just doing it casually. Gotta love it. I need that mud crab meat. Another question there is, just interjecting into this discussion, is favorite type of meat. I keep coming back to this just because I love crab meat so darn much. But anyways, so there's the order aspect of it. There is the general question of, you know, can people be so dangerous that they really need to have a government check them? Or is there something to be said about anarchism? And if not, where does that stop? And that's really the line that is being questioned when it comes to vigilantism. Now let me know how to pronounce it correctly. Is where is that line where the need to have an ordered society and to have a check on the capacity for the evil within men by a system of governance, where does that need end? Where can they be allowed to start having freedom to make their own decisions when it comes to solving disputes and so on and so forth? And how does that play into a situation where, you know, government isn't always going to be perfect. It may overextend itself. It may even have rightly extended itself into a region, you know, done something for the sake of the people and instituted a set of laws, but then failed to enforce them. In my opinion, I think there is a place for it. I don't think it's totally out of the question. I don't think, when it comes to checks and balances, like rule number one of a check and balance is that it can't be an absolute necessarily, right? Or at least the things being checked, hence why they need to have checks in the first place. I suppose it could be said that you do want to be very careful with keeping those very hardly set in stone. Because they're there for a reason, right? They're there because people get carried away. Not necessarily just because something's always a bad thing, but because certain goods can be lesser than others and can be tempting when it comes to doing evil. But I think there's certainly, same with, a broader version of it would be revolution, right? Like taking up arms against a government. If one is in a situation where it is clear that the government is not ruling in the best of the people to such a detrimental extent. There's three criteria for both things. There's one, that the matter at hand is gravely and objectively immoral, and being either overtly endorsed by the government and promoted and done, or even just not addressed. Then two, there has to be no legal means to getting around it, right? Like you can't, reasonable legal means. Like it's not saying necessarily that, it being solved by the government, but it being solved 30 years later is not the same thing as having an immediate remedy to a grave concern. And then the third criteria is that the good outweighs the bad in what you're doing, right? Or bad. You are gaining more than you lose. Like, say, for a revolution, it can be successful, essentially, would be that criteria. You're not just going to lose a bunch of lives fighting a war, or you're going to lose more, the loss of life involved in going outside the law, or just loss of freedom if you're talking about vigilantism, being put into prison. And that's a greater loss, more grave concern than the one that is being addressed. But there are circumstances where that doesn't come into play. And we all kind of do it just about every day, right? Like, not going the speed limit is a matter of civilians taking the law into their own hands. And it seems like a very minor thing, but it is technically the same principle. The assumption that there is something that's just so unreasonable that on the books, and no one in this case, no, it's not a grave matter even, but you got places to go, and it's just not enforced by the government. So a lot of people just do it on their own. It's not even as grave as, say, someone is a criminal who is not being punished by the government for corruption's sake, and you just had to take it into your own hands. This is even a lot more justified almost than going over the speed limit. But people do that every day.
Hail, friend. It's good to see another merry soul enjoying this fine day. Ah, but you look tired. Come, share a bottle. Cheers.
I'm good.
May your adventures find you.
Children, don't accept alcohol from random strangers that are out and about. I think a more interesting question that people have more disagreement on, like, a lot of people like to feign, especially in media, that people are very anti-vigilantism. But I honestly don't know that I've ever met someone who's, like, an absolutist, that there's never a case for it. But the more interesting question is, should there still be a punishment for it? And I think there's actually an argument to that. Like, even if they did the right thing, having them get punished for it anyways is still a meaningful deterrent to anyone who would try to do it for another case. Cause it proves that no matter what, you're not going to get away with it if you did it for the wrong reason. And it's just like, it's the cost of doing the right thing. Sometimes doing good things cost things in life. And I think that's okay. That might be more valuable than cluttering the legal system by having a bunch of people go in. And it is an extra incentive to people considering such a thing to not fall victim to just throwing all caution to the wind and doing whatever they want whenever they want it. They know there is going to be a cost for going outside the lines. As unfortunate as that may be, that doesn't always, some people, sometimes good gets caught up in that. It might provide a greater stability than otherwise. That's my take on it. Obviously, that being said, I can't officially condone, we're talking philosophically here, vigilantism for legal reasons. So, if asked, I take a neutral stance on the matter. But, yeah, that's my piece. Very interested, always interested to hear what anyone thinks on the matter. That's something that's, like, it's constantly brought up in media, especially comic books, right? You got Batman, you got Green Arrow, Spider-Man. These constant themes of, is it okay to go outside the bounds and do your own thing when justice demands? And I think it's almost overblown, right? Like, to be fair, we should always be trying to go within the bounds of the lines, right? But at the same time, people even we write these laws knowing that sometimes this was going to have to happen. That's the example I gave of the speed limits, right? Like, it's not enforced because no one actually cares about it. And they know they don't care about it when they write those laws. The real reason for the law is so that they have a reason they can pull someone over if they suspect them of doing something else suspicious, but have nothing else to go on, like no proof. They'll have a reason to pull you over if you're going even just 5 over. They can technically say you were speeding. That's what those things exist for. That's why they're lower than they need to be, even though after practice, most people would agree that they're usually too low. And so it's fine. It's assumed you're going to break it. And so most, even law enforcement officers, will tell you that it's fine. Once again, League of Regions not absolutely condoning it. But there's something to think about, right? Like, it's not... We do not have to be so absolutist that there can't be exceptions to general good rules. Which obeying the law is. When you think of good examples throughout history of times where people have done it, bringing it back to the broader scale of things like the American Revolution, for example. That was something done. A lot of people to this day are very laissez-faire about it, very belligerent about it. But in their present day, they were There's a reason that they did not get involved with the French Revolution, and it was not pure isolationism. It's because they viewed it as barbaric and unjustified. Considered a very grave matter to go outside the bounds of the law. For all those reasons we discussed, both order and respect, even respect for their king who had provided for them for a very long time. It's not something they wanted to do, and when they did it, they knew they had to do it in a very orderly fashion, or it would very quickly become worse than it was worth. Alright. That is my monologue for the day. At least for this half of the break. The second one's probably going to be shorter because I kind of went on about that. Side effect of me being stuffy is that I trip over my own words because I can't really think clearly. Especially when I'm playing a game and trying to find interesting things to do. Biggest thing I went up against there was going through my inventory and trying to take the crap out of it while I was trying to have a deep discussion. What a great video that was. Hope you'll consider checking out our various other accounts in the description below. We put out uplifting content 7 days a week. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it. There's a lot more awesome content on the way. May you be there to see it. May God bless and keep you, and may we all live in eternal communion.